Mike, very good morning to you.
Yes, good morning, Mike.
I'm sorry to delay coming to you there. I wasn't expecting that story to go quite so long as it did, but it's a very amazingly large number of people who are telling me how hard it is to find themselves parking a car.
Well, I should speak to my wife. She also looks for the biggest car parking space, so there we go.
Yeah. Let's talk about these gang members. 93 people arrested by the police, £4 million in thefts in shoplifting crackdown. I mean, we keep being told, don't we, by the lefties, oh, you know, people are only shoplifting because they haven't got enough money to eat, and so they're stealing just so they can eat food. This obviously gives the lie to that story, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. I was speaking to the security head of one of the major retailers who was saying baby milk, for example. You know, you're always told sob stories of people stealing milk to feed their baby. It's actually a massive market of shipping it out to Vietnam, strangely enough.
Really?
And there's also warehouses full of cheap booze. The chief constable, Amanda Blakeman, in the article, says about, oh, don't buy any dodgy gear in pubs. It's not really the people buying dodgy gear in pubs. It's much more organised than that. You know, there's warehouses full of booze where people who run licensed premises or clubs, legal or illegal, can go and buy lots of booze. But to put these figures in perspective, 93 arrests. Well, there are 43 police forces, you know, so it's about 2 each. And when I was at the Met, we had a case where we actually arrested one man for 43 crimes who was charged and sent to prison. So the work over these amount of months is not as good. You know, you're thinking there's 500,000 shoplifting offences reported, and the only time people report shoplifting is when somebody's actually caught, or they think their evidence is absolutely damning that they'll have to get somebody later. So it is a very small number of offenders arrested, and, and not charged even.
Right, exactly. And I mean, it's, as you say, it's being done on like an industrial scale, and there's quite a lot of money in it, isn't there? Because if you steal like a load of cigarettes, or if you steal a load of bottles of booze, you know, you're talking thousands of pounds in one haul, aren't you?
Absolutely. I mean, you have to look at the security tags that are on, you know, basic stuff in bottles of wine in supermarket. I went into a co-op in Croydon, and you couldn't actually, you had to ask behind the counter if you wanted coffee. You know, it's like some dodgy deal. But what the police don't use, Mike, is technology. I mean, I actually went to see Operation Pegasus, and my expertise is catching people with images, because once somebody's run off with the goods, the only thing left of it is the images, like you can see now, the CCTV. And whilst the police have a national fingerprint and DNA database, they don't have a national image database. So if you commit crimes in several places like Bolton, St Helens and Chester, they're in 3 different police force areas, so they don't share the images, so you're very unlikely to be linked to lots of crime.
Yeah, exactly right. And so many shopkeepers have now just got you've got it kind of plugged into their matrix, haven't they? They just know that they're going to lose thousands of pounds of stuff every single month, and they just have to somehow factor that into their budget.
Well, they do factor into the budget. It's me, you, and all the listeners and viewers who are actually paying for this. And as you said, it is an industrial scale. There's people coming in. A recent article showed that, you know, people have been deported. There's a massive problem with Romanian thieving gangs. And so we're letting these people in the country through illegal immigration and legal immigration, who then just abuse the system and commit masses of crime.
Right. And of the 93 people arrested, 32 have appeared in court. Only 5 have actually been deported. So I don't know whether that's going to increase, but it's not great, is it?
It's not great at all, because, of course, they only deport you if you get sentenced to more than a year in prison, if ever. And, of course, most of these shoplifting crimes, they'll end up with some 10-bob fine, and off they'll go on the way to do even more. The only way to deal with them, and I offer my assistance to the police on this, is to capture these people for several offences. If you take somebody to court with one crime, they'll get a slap on the wrist.
They'll get a slap on the wrist, and you don't want that. Mike, good to talk to you. We've got to run, I'm afraid. Mike Neville.